Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time zone you are living in. I'm pleased today to welcome you to Project Echelon, which is a series in the Metamorphosis by SFAN documentary. And today's maiden edition is quite spectacular because of the person we're having on set today. I will introduce him to you right away.
Kaycey Ogbonna is the founder and group chairman of King Solomon's Group of Companies, a multi-sectoral brand with business interests spanning oil and gas, financial services, hospitality, real estate, transport, and entertainment sectors. His landmark project, Tika Group of Companies, established the first mall in Ghana for all things building material and construction equipment. Award-winning business strategist, investor, and philanthropist Kaycey Ogbonna developed his business prowess from the smarts and hustle of hawking on the streets of Accra as a boy. You could find him under the rain and sun, trying to make ends meet. This precarious life experience continued well into his young adult's life, and he was homeless until age 21. Through a streak of good fortune and grit, Ogbonna found himself outside the shores of Africa in search of greener pastures, and following his North Star and gut, he traveled through countries like Turkey, the UAE, Malaysia, China, Ireland, and Germany. He did menial jobs and saved everything he earned, but he never lost his sight on the goal of establishing himself in the country he was a hawker. Eventually, he gathered his savings and returned to Ghana to build his business empire.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to introduce to you a formidable entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, and an investor, Mr. Kaycey Ogbonna. You're welcome to Project Echelon.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you. It's good to be here, to be on your set today. I'm so glad. I consider it a great honor and a privilege.
Your story is quite striking. One of the things that young people always see is the after effects of the life experiences. But today we'll give them a window.
So I was born in a city called Aba in Abia State of Nigeria. Then it was the eastern part of the eastern region, or there were a group of states. Now we have Abia State. Then it wasn't Abia State. I think it was Imo State then. And this city is basically known for commerce. And my father married 3 women. So I came from a polygamous home. I wouldn't describe my father as a man who loves women or a womanizer. I noticed that during his time, that was the trend. Because I watched my uncles and some other elderly people that I met that are within the same age bracket as my father, and I noticed that all of them did the same thing. They married 2, 3, 4 wives. And I was told that because of famine, so a man needs to marry many wives so they can have many children. Right. So they will help you, assist you in the farm work and all those things. So it was the trend. It wasn't as if that he is so much, like women, so to say. Yeah. So that was it. And so my mother is the last wife out of the 3. Right. And so I had several of elderly stepbrothers and sisters who are far more aged than myself. And in fact, my father's firstborn could be almost the same age bracket with my mother, so. And I was told that my father used to be rich. But I think that before we came into this scene, the money were all gone. And I believed it because when we traveled to the village, there is this house that is very popular in my village that was built by my father. And it's a nice as though it's very old now. And it was built before the Nigerian Biafra Civil War. Wow. And the house is still standing. Wow. And I was told that was the first house that was built with block in my whole community. Must have been rich. Yeah, so my father was actually a rich man in that time. But we came and met him as a very poor man because we live in Aba in a city, but we live in a mud house. That's how poor he has become. And growing up as a child was very difficult. In fact, I was told that the day I was born, There is this popular market in the city of Aba called Ekeoha Market. It's the most popular and the biggest market in that city as a whole. In fact, I think it's the most prominent market, and my parents were petty traders. So are all our relatives and all those people. I think it's a trend that when somebody from this particular community is doing one, almost everybody, when they come from the village to the city, they will all start doing the same kind of business. So they were all in that market, in that Ekeoha market. And I was told that my mother was pregnant of me. And usually what she does is that when she's getting due to delivery, she will invest all her little capital in her goods. So that while she gives birth and stays at home for a few months, someone will be taking care of her shop for her and then bringing her some chop money to take care of her, you know. So my father, my uncles, aunties, they were all traders in that market. And on that fateful day, it was on 29th day of May, there was a fire outbreak in that market in the night. I know those days there wasn't anything like mobile phones, and the communications were still very manual. And so the market was raised down by fire in the middle of the night, and nobody knew about it until morning. So when the news got to town, and they all went to the market, you know, on getting there, they realized that all their shops had been raised down by fire. My mother, my father, everybody. And so it was a tragedy. They lost all their livelihood. And so my mother was coming back from that market, and I think out of the pain, she was crying and all those things, it induced labor. And she entered into a nearby maternity home on her way coming back from that market, witnessing that incident. And then she gave birth to me. So invariably one could say that I could be described as one of those child that they call bad luck child. So I came in the day everybody lost everything they own in all their business. And so life was tough. My mother told me that there was even a particular day I was breastfeeding. You know, she hadn't eaten anything all day. She was about to pass out when miraculously somebody came knocking on the door and saw her almost passing out, because she has been a woman that just gave birth to a baby, no food to eat and all those. It was really bad. And then the woman helped her and then get her something to eat. So growing up, it was tough. There was no money. As at when I was around 4, 5, 6 years old, I already started going to the market with my mother to sell all kinds of things. You know, we sell groundnuts, moi, whatever you can think of, maize and things that I'll carry on my head. You know, we'll go around the market and sell. So I started business when I was as early as 5 years old. As a child, I remember there was a time my mother used to do moi, this kind of food. If you are from Abia State, or if you're an Igbo man, you understand what moi. I think they even do it around Accra these days. So we had to prepare moi and sell in the market early in the morning. Because for market women, they go to market very early and they eat very early before they, So we had to wake up around 3 a.m. to wash the beans manually, and I will carry it and walk through dark places in the ghetto where we live to go to a grinding machine. So I had to get to that grinding machine as early as 4 a.m. or thereabouts to join the queue. So you can grind it early and rush back home for my mother to prepare the moi. Because the moi has to be ready at least by 6 a.m. So we take it to the market and sell. So as a small boy, I was doing all those things, and it continued till I get to 6 years old. I had to join a primary school. We couldn't get the morning school. I was enrolled in an afternoon school. The afternoon school works in the way that we start school by 12 and close by 5 p.m. So in the morning, I'll go to the market, sell all kinds of things. When it's around 11, I'll rush back home, put on my school uniform, and go to school. From school, when it's 5 p.m., the school closes. I rush quickly, drop my school bag, pull my school uniform, put on something else, and rush back to the market. I would be in the market from that time till around 9 p.m., 10 p.m. in the night. So I would go home. The following morning, it continues like that. You know, it was a tough life, but I thank God for all those lives, because those lives contributed in making me very strong. I don't see what people refer to these days as suffering. I don't see it as suffering. I see it as training. So that's when I come across some young people who are going through things, I quickly tell them that, look, you are being trained. So if you accept it with a positive mind, it becomes a training for you. It will help to mold you to become who God wants you to be. And so that's how it was growing up. I managed to go through that way. I was brilliant at school, you know, irrespective of all these things. I still pass, you know, in class, and sometimes I third position, second, fourth, fifth, fifth position, and then we continued to secondary school. Partly my mother will struggle, my mother will hawk things around the city. I will join her, my elder brother will also join. And when you get to secondary school, our income cannot sponsor two people into secondary school. So my elder brother said to my mom, let my younger brother go to secondary school. Let me join you full time in the market. So he stepped down for me to go to secondary school. Because what we earn, we eat from there. I have other younger siblings, and, you know, irrespective of the hardship, somehow my father still, you know, make my mother give birth to more children. So generally, you know, generally my mother had 7 children, 5 boys and just 2 girls. I am the second. I have just 1 elder brother, and the rest are. So myself and my elder brother, we took care of the remaining, you know. So he stepped down. He didn't go to secondary school at all. He stopped around at somewhere around primary 5 or so. He never went to school again. And so I managed to enter secondary school. You know, it was still combination, trading and going to school. And I was still okay, brilliant sometimes. Second position, third, fourth, fifth position. And I wrote common entrance and I passed very well. I wrote WAEC and I passed. And I wrote JAMB and I passed. And I got an admission to go to university. But I couldn't continue that. There was a lot of hardship. University of Calabar.
Right.
Yeah.
The best, actually.
Yes, I got admission into University of Calabar. And incidentally, I happened to be the only person, the first person, in the whole of my family that ever got admission in the university. Wow. And before then, I was into all kinds of trading. And I was doing well because I worked very hard. You know, because I started early. So trading has become part of me. And so I told you I have these elder brothers, and, you know, some of them were doing very well, you know, at their level at that time. You know, you could describe them as rich people, you know, but, you know, polygamous home has a way of creating some kind of disunity, and if not properly managed, especially when in the midst of hardship, there could be crisis, and they, you know, everybody will try to, you know, protect himself, and if the women are not able to manage their relationship, they could really create wars in between the children. And we experience, you know, things like that in our family, because some of the things that we went through, if there were peace or if people took responsibility, maybe we wouldn't go through all that. Maybe I have a brother who could afford to, you know, let me go through school and all those kind of things. And so before I got admission, I was into sewing business. I have a small mini factory of about 2 machines. I used to produce these skin tights that the sports athletes use, where it is tight this way, some swimmers and all that. I used to produce that. And Aba is a very commercial city. We have people coming from Cameroon, from Equatorial Guinea, from Lagos, from all parts of Nigeria to come and patronize us. Wow. And I was doing well. I was around 16, 17 years old then. And I had a small factory, you know. So, and I got admission. When I got admission, I had about 80,000 naira,
Wow.
which was a lot of money.
What year was it?
It should be, it's in the 90s,
Right.
early 90s.
So we're looking at lots of multiples.
Yes, yes. You know, it was a reasonable amount of money, pay the level that we were, the environment that we were. It was a lot of money, pay my age. Because people within my age bracket, not all of them had that kind of amount of money. So I could be described as a young boy who has done well, who has done something. Yeah. But the environment that we grew up, you know. And so I went to my stepbrothers, the elderly ones, and I went to tell them that I have gotten an admission in the university. And they know the kind of trading I've been doing. I've been able to raise capital, and I have 80,000 naira cash. And my machines and my small mini factory is still there. But I have to go to school. I need an advice. What should I do? And so the suggestions were, okay, give me the money, let me invest it in the business. Don't worry, I'll take care of you. I'll make sure you go to school and all that. So at the end of the day, I decided that, okay, there was this means of transport very relevant in those days. Today is known as Okada business. So I used part of that money to buy Okada. The intention was that the Okada would be, you know, doing and making sales, and the money, I will be using that money to take care of myself in the school. So I went back to my brothers and I told them that I bought an Okada with a certain amount of money. The remaining I will use part to pay my school fees and all that. And then one of them said to me that, oh, you have done very well. So what we'll do now is that you let me take care of the Okada for you. I promise you I'm going to make sure I train you in the school. I'll pay your fees. I'll do everything. In fact, even if I had to do laborer job to make sure you finish school, you are the first person that has gotten admission in our family, and I must make sure you finish school. If you have to even go abroad, America or wherever, I will sacrifice everything to make sure you go to school. And I think that was the first time I received such encouragement in my life, and I was so happy. So I took my Okada, handed it over to my brother.
From the extended family?
From my stepbrother. And then I went to school. So as a young guy who has gotten admission first year in the university, a lot of prospects, you know, high hopes, and coupled with a brother of mine who has given the promise, you know, giving me encouragement and vim that, you know, I'm there, don't worry, just go to school. So I was very happy, and I went to school. So some weekend, I will come home as a boy, you know, my brother is there. I'll come back for weekend, and maybe I'm going, I need some money for handouts and all those kinds. So I'll go to him. He will tell me, okay, no problem. My wife is in charge of money, so when she comes, just tell her anything you need, she will provide it. So I go to the wife. The wife is a young lady, I mean, very nice young lady. We were very close, you know. So I'll go to her. Anything I want, she will just provide. And very impressive. So I was like, wow, is this life? Or, you know, for the first time, somebody's taking care of me, you know. So then, to cut the long story short, during holiday, I came back. We have a long holiday, so I came. And from childhood, I have never known relaxing or staying idle. I've always worked. So I went to my brother and said, we are on long holidays, and you know that I can't stay idle. So what I intend to do is that, let me go back to my trade. At least we have about 2 months holiday. I know what I will be able to produce within that time. So I will save us some money, and then we add it to my savings while I go back to school. I will say, oh, fantastic. Oh, don't worry. Let my wife come back, and then anything. What I was asking for is that, let them give me some money from the Okada savings. So I use it to do business. When I'm going, I'll return the capital and the profit I have made, so that they add it to the savings. And it was fantastic idea. And so in the evening, the wife came back and said, my brother said I should meet you this and that. Then she brought a book, and then started calculating, and then she would say, on so and so time you came, and then you needed money for this, and you took 100 naira, and then you took 2,000 naira, and after everything total, this is what is left. So apparently, I didn't know that the money I was using was my Okada money. I didn't know that all the time I was coming back. I thought my brother was taking care of me now. But it was my Okada money I was spending. I was giving back to me. And so I was shattered. Because at the end of the day, there was no money left. See, I was stranded. So I got so disappointed. So I said to my brother, why did you deceive me? You promised that you were going to, see me through school. So why? And then there was no explanation. And I took the Okada and went away. And that was how I was so devastated I couldn't go back to school. That was how I stopped, school and started, my life became, the psychological impact of that took me off balance. So I just went back to struggling life, trying to do business, and they continue like that, and hardship and a whole lot of untold, stories, which I might not be able to narrate, everything. But long and short of it was that I couldn't go back to school. So I left the city. Because of my struggles and all those kind of things, I joined some, bad companies. And
which city was this?
It's still in Aba. Okay. I joined some bad companies, and a lot of ugly things happened to me. I started engaging in smoking and some kind of social vices that are not good. So I left the city, and I went to another village in Imo State. I went there to join the laborers there. There was a certain contractor in that village. We call him Oga John. Such a nice man. He has tipper trucks that supply sand and all those things. I didn't know that village. I was just looking for where I can just go and hide myself and do some work. Because the family, then my mother has given birth to other children. There was so much hardship. We get just enough to feed, and sometimes feeding is a problem. To pay house rent was a problem. Many times we were embarrassed by a landlord. We were never able to pay house rent. Many times we were threatened with ejection notice and all those kind of things. So it was becoming so embarrassing. In the whole of the yard there where we live, we were the only people that is not able to pay house rent. And they keep, coming to embarrass us all the time. Growing up, seeing my mother struggling all her life, and the children, nobody is going to school and all those kind of things. It was horrible. So I decided to, take chance with my life, just move out, go and look for what to do and see how I can, help the family. So I went to that village on my own. Nobody led me. So I found this contractor, Oga John, and I went to him and his wife. So I said, I've come to work. I'm coming from so and so place. So the man gave me a room in his house and took me to a borrow pit. A borrow pit is like a valley where there are a heap of sand. You try to separate the gravels from the sharp sand. Is a lot of. And so we were doing that job. We were being paid for construction, And so we were being paid on daily basis. And sometimes when you do that one and you graduate to another stage of work. So I graduated to loading the tipper. That time, these days they use no, not headpan. The tipper truck will come and use shovel to load it one after the other. Maybe it will be 4 of us. We'll be throwing it like that until the tipper truck is full. Then we will jump in, then go offload it, and then come back. Wow. It was fun. For me, it was fun. And I was working every day, you know, you earn money. Every day you earn money. And I was very good in making sure that I don't spend the money that I earn. I only make sure that I eat. And I don't eat a lot. I eat just to have myself and my strength. And I was saving the money. The man's wife, all my money is with her. You know, bank accounts. You know, in those days, you hardly see anybody who has bank accounts, only very rich people. So every day, any money we make, I take my feeding money and I give to the woman. You know, that continued. And then in that village, there were a group of people that they call them sea divers. They bring the sharp sand from the river and they make much more money. Because me, I want to make more money. There are a lot of problems waiting for me at home. So I want my income to keep increasing. And my target was to save money and travel outside. You know, we have this mentality then that, you know, you travel outside, you go and make money, come back and come and help your family. So I was saving towards traveling. So I joined these people who are sea divers. They use the canoe. So they go to the middle of the river and they put the canoe. One person is in the boat. The other person is the diver itself. So he will use a bucket, a sharp bucket, go inside the river, to the bottom of the river, fetch the sharp sand, come out, and then you will take it, receive it, and pour inside the canoe. They will continue like that until the canoe is full, and then they will go to the onshore, and then offload it and go back again. You could do that like 7 times, 8 times, 10 times, 12 times in one day, and then you could get 2 trips, 3 trips, and you sell. So there is money in it. So I decided to join. But one of the criteria was that you must know how to swim, because all the time they have mishap. The canoe can capsize and they will just, it's nothing to them because they know how to swim. So when it happens, they will just swim out and turn it and continue. So if you don't know how to swim, chances are that you are going to drown and you die. So they asked me, do you know how to swim? I said yes, but I didn't know how to swim. but I needed to do that job because there is much more money in it than the one I was doing. So I joined them. There is this fear in me that we are going to have a problem, and when it happens, they won't come to rescue you because they believe that you know how to swim. Anytime such thing happens, everybody just swim out. Nobody goes to rescue each other because everybody knows that it's part in swimming. But I knew that I didn't know how to swim. I knew that if anything happened, I would be drowned. But I prayed. And I believe God that nothing will happen to me. But though I was afraid, but I didn't allow that fear to stop me from moving. And I conquered the fear. Even though the fear was there, I overlooked it and continued. That has formed the basis of my faith. You know, many times I want to do something. I am really afraid. But irrespective of that fear, I will still go ahead and do it. And it has really helped me. It has really made me to achieve certain things that maybe probably others might not be able to achieve, because I'm able to, you know, tone down my fears and continue. And I did it. I did that work for some time and I made some money. So that was how I saved money. And then we decided to travel abroad, and we said that I didn't have connections to make visa and all those things. And so we said, okay, let's move towards the border. You know, we moved to Seme-Border from Nigeria. We went to Lagos, then we moved to Seme-Border. You know, came to Seme-Border, police arrested us, where are you going? And then locked us for some time. We, myself and one other guy, you know, locked us for some time. And that time, you see, I was around 18, 19 years old. Just a small boy. Yeah, and then they left us, we entered into Benin Republic, Cotonou. You know, we moved on to Togo, you know, moved on, and then we saw ourselves in Accra. And then that's how I came to Accra, Ghana. When we get to Accra, we had some little money left. So there was this hotel somewhere in the Tudu area, because the vehicle would take you straight to Tudu. And then we stayed in that hotel for 2 or 3 nights, and then the money was finished. And, you know, we were in the street, we moved in, you know, tried to interact with people. And then we met one Nigerian guy. He lived at Tema. And he said, oh, he can take care of us, not knowing that he thought that we had money. So he took us from the Tudu, no, community to Tema. That should be around 2000 or so, around that time, you know, and took us to Tema, community 2. He was living with a certain lady, and we later realized that the lady was his girlfriend. It's a Ghanaian lady, but he's a Nigerian guy that he used to do this picture frame. You know, in those days, a picture of Jesus Christ and Mary, and also you frame it with sellotape and then you sell on the street. So he used to do that. And then he said that if we have money, we should bring it, and then he can show us how to do this. And there's a lot of money, we can make a lot of money from it. And then, so when he realized that we didn't have money, so he threw us out. But then we've learned how to do that. So we managed to, you know, buy 1 or 2 pep. You know, it's just very simple. You just the only investment you make, you buy the glass, and then you go to inside somewhere in Tudu, and you buy the pictures. The people who sell the pictures of Jesus Christ, they roll it like you know, they sell it there. So you just buy those pictures. You buy sellotape, and then you buy glass, and then you come and make the thing, you know, tape it nicely. So we're doing it. And we'll carry it, we'll walk around the whole Tema to Ashama, in and out, and we'll sell it. I remember there was a day I went to Accra and I walked back. Yeah.
From Accra
to Tema, yes. Yeah. You know, so, but you see, those days, there is something that tells me that just continue doing what you are doing. You will survive, you will succeed. So I'm always hopeful. I never lost hope 1 minute. I'm always hoping that, you see, my focus then was that business. So my focus was, today I have 5. I want to increase it to 10. I want to increase it to 15. And I was doing. So if you start with 2, you said it 2, you must make sure the next one will be 4 or 3. So my focus was on that then at that time. And I was doing it. And at the time, I think we were having up to 10, 15, to the point that you can't even carry all the ones that you have. So you keep some, you go sell, you come back and take some again, come back. You know, the business was growing per our level that time. And I was satisfied with that business. Even though at the back of my mind, I knew that there's something bigger for me. But that one is what I was doing that time. And I had that every belief that through that one, I can do all things. You know, so I was doing it, and until a time, I think something went wrong, and that business also collapsed. You know, when you are getting the money, there are people back home that you also have to take care of. And meanwhile, throughout this time, we don't have a house where we live in. We sleep in people's veranda. Anywhere, sometimes in primary school, you know, school compound, you jump in and then you pass the night. Sometimes 3 days, 4 days, you don't take shower because there are public shower. You have to go and pay coin, pesos in those days to bath. Well, I can't imagine taking that much money to go and pay to bath. So I'd rather manage and stay without bathing for a few days until I find maybe some corner, and then I bath and continue. You know, we're doing all that, and then I started another business, shoe. That time we call it Mpabwa, Fos Mpabwa. You know, I will go to Togo, go to Afla, will cross to Togo side. You know, people from my hometown, there are a lot in Togo, and their major trade is this kind of, they bring these Fos, second-hand shoes from outside, and they dominate that market. Even up to today, many of them are still there. So I went to meet some of them and introduce myself. And they were giving me the rejected ones because I don't have money to buy the good ones. So they give me the rejected ones. I paid a little money I have, and then maybe I think I started with some few pairs, about 5-10 pairs. I didn't have money. I didn't have money to pay custom duty and all this. So what I do is that they give me those 10 pairs of shoes. I keep them in Togo side. So I'll take one as if I am selling it within the border. As a small boy, we are not noticeable. So we'll pass through the immigration and come to Ghana side. And then we'll drop it. And then I'll walk back to Togo side. Because there are boys living in that border town. So nobody disturbs them. They move in and out. So I'll go back again, take another pair, as if I'm just selling, hawking around the border. And then the police, everybody will overload. They will not mind me. I'll cross and then drop it. I go back. I will go out until I cross the whole pairs of shoe. Then I will jump trotro and come to Tema. When I get to Tema, I'll come and wash those shoes nicely, package it nicely, and go to Tema Community 1 market. There is this taxi rank there. They gave me some small portion. I'll put them down and sell. So I was doing it, and that one too was growing. Then some people started giving me credit, goods on credit. So I was having 1 sack, 2 sack of the shoes until I started employing. There are women, Kayaye women in the border. They carry goods cross goods for people. So I started engaging them. They were crossing it for me. So the guy I used to buy the thing from, he seen progress, so he was happy. And then he decided to give me very large quantity. I think about 10 or 12 sacks. And that was the highest amount of goods I've ever dealt with all my life then. And so I was excited. I'm becoming a rich man, So, So I took the thing across to Ghana side and then jumped trotro as usual. I didn't have any money left. And then reaching Dabala, because there's a custom checkpoint there, even it's still there. So when he gets there, because I didn't know that when the goods are big, they will now classify you as a businessman. So they will have to check and So they dropped my goods and demanded some amount of money. I didn't have the money to pay. I begged the custom officer, pleaded with, told him all my life story. The man said I must pay that amount of money. He refused. I begged and he refused. And he dropped the goods. And the vehicle was moving. I didn't know what, so I joined the vehicle to come back to Tema, to come and raise money and go back to carry it. So when I came and I raised the money, by the time I got back, the man has taken the goods to the custom long room in Aflao. So I went to Aflao in the custom long room. And they have to calculate for me to pay duty. And the duty that I was asked to pay was about 10 times or 20 times the cost of the goods. And I didn't have it. So that was how I lost everything. I went to square one and that business also collapsed. So I came back to Tema, a stranded man. I joined one guy that sells sugarcane. I see the people that cut sugarcane. So I'll join him, help him to sell sugarcane. We'll go to the village, interior village in Ghana. I've forgotten the name of that village. We'll go and help the farmers to cut, then bring to Accra. It was so frustrating.
Do you remember the year?
It's within the early 2000. So that was how I got a hint that there are many jobs in Tema Harbour, being mostly dominated by Dogomba boys from north. So they are the people, but they are strong. So they do loading of cocoa in the ship, offloading of rice, sugar, flour, offloading fish from the fishing vessel. So I went to plead with them. I was the only Nigerian that's amongst them. So I played with them and I had favor. So they admitted me to that job and I joined them. So the ship will come, we will offload the sugar, sometimes rice, to the trailer, we follow the trailer to the warehouse, we go and offload, go back. Then some fishing vessel will come. You see, the fishing vessel is like a cold, they have a cold room. The vessel itself is a cold room. It has first layer, second layer, third, and sometimes fourth. The deeper you go, the more free, the cold, you know. And we're being timed, so they put the crane there, we'll go down to the hatch, put it, and then they time you maybe 1 minute. If you stay beyond there, you can freeze inside. You know, so I was doing all those jobs, and I raised money from there. I'm very good in savings. I've never, you know, the background where I was coming from didn't allow me to be extravagant, you know, squandering money like other young people do. But I knew that time that some of the boys that we were all doing that thing together, some of them, they will get the money, they will drink, you know, they will do all kinds of things and spend the money. But I don't spend mine like that. So I get it and I keep saving. I have a target. I make sure I keep saving, and then I meet the targets. So that was how I saved money. And then we went back to Nigeria and then traveled. Wanted to travel abroad, and we met some man who said he's going to give us visa. And then the visa will have to pass through some African countries and this and that and this, and then from there you see yourself in Europe. So we gathered all the money that we had and paid, and made for the first time get an international passport. And he did all that. I said we have to go through the northern Nigeria, and then you go through Niger Republic, and that was how the long the long short of it, that I find myself in the desert. And then we had to travel to Libya.
For the sake of clarity, for those who might be hearing the desert for the first time, this is the one where you have to walk Sahara Desert.
Yes. You know, so, you know, through northern part of Nigeria, you go into Niger Republic. From Niger Republic, you go to a city called Zinder, you go to Agadez. From Agadez, there are land cruisers, old land cruisers that will take you across the desert. The desert is like you could travel from here to, say, Tamale. It's pure desert, sands and mountainous rocks, and that's all that you will see. Then we had no choice, we were already there. I didn't prepare, but when you get to Agadez, they will tell you the requirements. You need a bottle of water, maybe 5-liter bottle of water. You need dry gari, sugar, groundnuts. You are advised not to carry a lot of clothes because you can't handle it when the pressure comes. So you take maybe 1 or 2 bag, clothes just hang in your bag. And then you have some money. That's how we set out into the desert.
Were you in the journey?
We together, I and 2 other guys, 2 other guys, but we met other people. So in totality, in each truck can carry up to 50, 60 people. Wow. And they move, yes, and they move in convoy.
Right.
They could move in convoy of 10, 5 trucks.
50 people each.
Yes,
wow.
Sometimes more. If it's a very big truck, we could get up to 100 people.
Right. That means everybody will be squeezed in like this.
Yeah, squeezed like this. Right. And there are these tribe Fulani guys, they understand the desert. Right. I don't know how they do it, but the whole place look alike, but they're able to navigate until they get to a place called Turuku. Turuku is in a village in the middle of the desert, and that's the border between Libya and Chad and Niger Republic. You know, so we went the first one successful.
Ask a few questions. The desert travel. How did you have money, or you had to protect?
We had a little money, but you have to. There is something that we were taught. You see the jean that you wear. Yeah, you see where the belt holder is. Yes. So you open it and cut it. Right. So there is a hole in between. Right. So you put your money in that hole.
Otherwise you'll be robbed.
You, of course, you'll be robbed.
Right.
You know, you put your money and then put your belt on it.
Right.
You know.
Some of the reports of people that have traveled before say that people died during those.
Oh, people die on daily basis.
Did anybody die in your convoy?
And nobody died because we didn't get missing.
Right.
Yeah. Well, once you get missing, what happens is that when you get missing, if your driver didn't know the way, you get missing, you keep turning around and round and round until the fuel in the vehicle will finish. You run out of water, and then the scorching sun will kill all of you. And so if you are moving on that, you'll be seeing skeletons of people along the road, people who has died.
Real time.
Yeah, real time, yeah. You see all those things. And I traveled to Libya twice. I went the first one successfully, and then we entered Libya. So I got in Libya, then it's a wealthy country. You do a little job and you get money. So we went to medicine. The Libyan people they don't work because the government seems to have provided everything. So you go to school free, everything is free food. They have a food store, like every city, every area have a food store. So every family is captured. Every weekend or whatever, or some days, you go to the food store and you take milk, oil, rice, everything that you need in the family. And if you are of age of marriage, the government will give you a house and give you a car and give you a loan. You get married. So it made them kind of lazy. They don't work. So every other work, starting from houseboy, everything, even if they open a shop, they look for a foreigner to do the work. And so there was job. If you want to work, you can work. And the Libyan dinars was higher in value than US dollars that time.
What year was this?
It's early 2000 still
Still that range.
within that, around 2004, 2005, thereabout. Yeah, so you do a little work and you get some money. So as usual, I stayed there for about, the first one, I stayed for about 6 months to 8 months. And I saved a lot of money, up to $10,000 thereabout.
Wow.
Then I have,
8 months.
yes, because you can get 100 Libyan dinars in a day or 200 in a day. You can. If you work hard, you can even get more than that. And so if you are saving within a few months, you can. And one Libyan dinars is more than it's about twice $2 or thereabout. So it's valuable currency. And if you are good in savings, you can get a lot of money. So I got about $10,000, and it's been long I left home. My family were worried. Then I managed to start communicating with them. So I had to. My mother was becoming worried and, sick. So I decided to go and see her. My intention was to go and then I returned back to Libya again. So I went and they were happy. The little money I brought, I used it to alleviate all the pressures at home. And the money got finished. I had little, and then I went back. The route that we passed the first time, there were issues there. So we have to pass another route. This one, you have to go through a place called Arilit. So you pass through that side, and you come to a city in Libya called Bargat. That place, that is where you see the Mount Hoga. So it's the boundary between Algeria and Libya. So that is where you have to walk. When you get to the foot of that Mount Hoga, vehicles cannot pass there. There's no motorable road. And so everybody has to stop there. And then you now walk to Libya. Climbing down Mount Hoga alone, you start climbing from 6 a.m. or as early as 5 a.m. The vehicle can get you there in the evening, then you relax. Around early morning, you move to climb. You started climbing early in that morning. You will arrive at the top in the evening.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you can enter?
That is the only way. So you climb. People die. You will be seeing skeletons of scores of people that has died. And remember, you have to carry your water. Some people who didn't get proper information, they carry heavy bags, they have to throw it. Because you will be worn out, you will be completely tired. You are climbing like this. So when we climb this small hill at Ebri, we say we're climbing mountain. No. This is Mount Hogger. You can Google it. You read about Mount Hogger. I was told that was where David killed Goliath or something. I don't know how true it was that, Mount Hogger. So you climb and you get to the top of that mountain in the evening, and then you rest. Then you now walk for 3 days to enter Baragat. There are Fulani people that rob people on the way, kill people on the way. They call them bandits and all those kind of things. Yeah, so we went through all that. I remember entering Baragat. We were dying. Our water has finished. People faint and they die. And then you enter Baragat. First of all, you meet a farm, because they have farms. Libyans have farms. So you find yourself in somebody's farm. Then you just look for any available water.
In the nighttime, obviously.
Yeah, of course, in the nighttime or early in the morning. And then if you are unlucky, police will catch you and then they send you to prison. If you are fortunate, the farmers, the owners of the farm will find you. And they are very passionate. Arab people are very good people. Not all these ones that we see as terrorists. I have encountered them, are very good people. This is my second time in Libya now, and then, all these things, I think that it's now obvious to me that God is with me and that there is a greater purpose. There is something that God wants to use my life to teach the people of the world, because a lot of things happened. I could have died. In fact, during the first time we passed through the other route, we entered a truck that it's like the driver, it's a family business. So the father is a driver, the son is a driver. And so we're loading, and what happened was that the father said to his son he can take the lead. So he will come to meet us. And the son is still learning the route. He doesn't know the route very well, you see. And so we get to a place called Regia. That Regia is a well dug in the middle of the desert. You don't know who dug that well. So all the trucks that is going towards that direction comes to that Regia to draw water from that well. And then we'll pass the night there, rest there for maybe a day or two, and continue. Because this journey put together is about 2 weeks on that road. So the plan was that we'll get to Regia, and then we'll wait for his father to come, because from the city where we took off from to Regia, he can navigate to that point, and you will meet a lot of trucks on the way. But from Regia is now the hot place where there's a patrol, and so everybody is trying to beat the securities, and so there's not that coordinated formation of movements there, and so you need to be well versed with the road to be able to navigate. And so the plan was I get to Regia, wait for the dad to come, then we'll all go on convoy. And then we went to Regia, spent so many days there. The father wasn't coming. Other trucks were coming and leaving us, going. And at some point, the young man decided to move. There was no way to contact them. There's no telephone. No telephone. You just have to, wait. And then we decided to move. As we were moving, we didn't know that the young man has missed the way. So he was far off the road. But something miraculous happened. At every few meters, that time it was tube and tire. The tube will get puncture and will stop.
Wow.
They used to come with spare tube, a lot, maybe a 10 spare tube, and he will change another tube. We'll move maybe 100 meters, it will burst again. We'll change. He did it until all the spare tube he had got finished. And then the question was that, what if we have another puncture? So the decision was made that we should return back to Regia and go and wait for his father, because his father will have more spare tube. That was how on turning back, He now realized that he has gone far off because we met another truck that told him that he is far off the road. So if those puncture didn't happen, we would have driven far, and then the fuel will finish, water will finish, and we will die like other people died. So that was a miracle that God used to deter our movement and send us back to region. We went there, no option of moving because there is no spare tube, and it's dangerous to move without a spare tube. And we had to stay there until his father came, brought spare tubes, and then we continued with his father. That was how the first one was successful. Then the second one, we had to walk 3 days. I nearly died. No water. Water finished. Everything happened, and we got there. Went to somebody's farm, and we were not caught by police. We went into the city. And that was my second missionary journey in Libya. And I went back to manual work, do all kind of laboring job, work in the farm, do medicine, laborer, I raised money, and I came back to Nigeria. Then I had a little more money. Then something happened again. I bought a car, small car, as someone who has come from abroad, it's a trend in those days. If you come from abroad, if you have some small money, you have to buy it. So I bought a car. I live some small wayward life here and there. Somebody who has gotten some money, a young guy, 20-something-year-old guy who has gotten some money, gotten some experience. And then, this my brother, my stepbrother. He's a very hard-working young man, well-to-do. Then he has started importation business. He goes to South Korea and import goods. So, he told me, you have done very well for yourself, you work very hard. Now, you don't have to go back to Libya again. I can take you to South Korea. You go and be there working. Me, I will come and buy goods and come and sell. So if you are working, you save out money, you will buy goods, and then we'll bring it together. He will bring it and sell, and then from there I can become, an importer. And it sounds very good. And he said to me, you just have to raise money for your visa and your ticket. Forget about the basic traveling allowance. Since I'm going to buy goods, it means I carry cash. So I can give you part of my money, and then you use it as BT. And when we get there, I use it to buy goods. So that you will be there permanent working. And that will be coming when I come. Whatever you have gathered, we buy goods, and then I bring back. And that was fantastic. I accepted it. Then I gave him money, made a new international passport, gave him money for a visa. And I waited and, raised money for my ticket, and we were just waiting for the visa to be out. Then I was told that the visa is ready, so we are impressive and we are about to move. And he now told me that, the business that he's doing, some people, other partners, have money in it. They give him the money to go, and then if he use that money for me to use as BT, his partners will say that he has used the money to send his brother abroad, and then so I have to go and raise money for my BT. And by that time, I spent all the money I have, solving family issues and, putting one or two things in place, and, some pressures in the family I have to, because I carry the whole family. There's no way I could get money. And I told him, you're keeping me stranded again. Why? I don't have this money, and you convinced me to take this decision. And the long and short of it was that I don't know how they did it, and they now say that my passport is missing. And I didn't get my passport back. I didn't get to see the visa. So I was mad, and I said, okay, you just have to refund me my money and everything. And quickly they refunded me. And I was stranded again. Then I spent all my money. I was stranded. But with the help of friends and things, and I managed to, gather myself and traveled outside the country again. So
You had to do a new passport.
yes, I had to do a new passport. Then I become more matured, wiser.
When was that?
It's still within 2004, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, because I know I returned back to Ghana in 2008.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
That was from Nigeria or from abroad?
no, from abroad.
Okay. Did
I-
you get to go to South Korea first?
No, I didn't go.
Okay.
I didn't go. I traveled to Islamic Republic of Iran.
Right.
I traveled to Pakistan
From Iran.
and it was another tragedy. It was a very bad, occurrence. But then, God was still with me. Went to Islamic Republic of Iran with one of my friends. Then we had this news that because they are on sanction and all the closed society, this Arab Islamic country, there's a lot of work and opportunities there. And then if you manage to get there, you will be this and that. And then we went to Abuja and secured the visa. And then we went. On reaching there, we realized that as a foreigner, you are not allowed to live in a house. You must live in a hotel. And then when you live in it, we didn't know all these things until we got there. Young people, once this travel thing gets into their mind, you don't make proper research. You don't make inquiry. You just jump in. And a lot of them are victims. So you see people still going to Libya, people still going through water, sea to cross, and dangerous movements. And I had a fair share of all those, misinformation. And then we got in Iran, as a foreigner, you live in a hotel and you deposit your passports with the hotel management. And the hotel management is under obligation. There is a section of police, immigration police, called in their language, they call it a moke. That hotel is mandated every morning to bring your passport to a moke to mark the register. So they will mark how many days left for your entry, for your visa to expire. So your movement is monitored. And we didn't know. And then we lived in a hotel, and after some time, your money cannot even pay hotel bills anymore. And police knows that you are there. They know hotel where you are. So once your visa expires, if you don't go, they'll just be giving few days grace. If you don't go, you'll be arrested. So we tried to find something to do. We were not able to find, and then we got one man who originally from Saudi Arabia, and because I have learned Arabic, so we started speaking Arabic, and then we become friendly. And he invited us into his house for food. We were speaking, joyfully. His brother came from another city called Shiraz or something. And then he met us, 2 black people, I and one of my friends, in the man's house. And his brother said to him that few weeks ago, 2 black people came and defrauded him of some money, and that they look exactly like 2 of us.
Wow. And you haven't met him before?
Never seen him before. And we said, we are not the one. He said that even if we are not the one, that they are our relatives, we must know them because we look exactly the same. So he said, no. If we say that we are not the people, then we must know the people because they are our brothers, we look the same. That's because you're black. And then after begging, he called police. And police came and took us to police cell. And they have system. Their system works. Police cannot release you except court gives order. The moment you are arrested by police, few minutes after taking your statement and everything, they will take you to court, explain your offense to the judge, and the judge will remand you to prison. It must go through like that. And we got to court. There is need for interpretation because they don't speak English, and their judges are Islamic scholars because they operate by Sharia. See those people who tie the thing and they don't speak English. But the judge speaks English, but the law doesn't allow him to use English. So we must get an interpreter. So they called Nigerian embassy to come, and the embassy couldn't come. So they remand us to prison. There was a prison called Evin prison. If you can Google it, it's the toughest prison in Iran. That's where they keep their top political prisoners and all those things. So they consider us to be very dangerous, black people. So they put us in Evin prison. Your entry into Evin prison will take you like 3 days. From one section to another. One section, they will do all kind of procedures, and then you are mature for the other section until you get to the final point. And I was in Evin prison for 3 months and 12 days. Nobody know where we are. No, not even my parents. Nobody had any information. And when I got there, I met some black people there. I met a certain Nigerian guy who told me that, well, now that we are here, that we should just relax, don't panic, don't be in a hurry, that these people, their system is such a way that we are going to be here for a very long time. He himself has been there for about 5 years. Wow. And he's hoping that maybe in 2, 3, 4 years time he will go out. Making it nice. So he's promising us that when he goes out, he will look for our families and then let them know that we are here. So invariably, he has projected his experience that we are going to stay there for about 10 years. Because we are charged with fraud. And the Iranian law, if you are charged with fraud, the judge, by law, is supposed to give you between, I think, 1 year to 7 years imprisonment. He will use his discretion. The law allows him to give you between 1 year to 7 years. And after that amount of money you were being accused of defrauding, you will pay that amount of money to the person that accused you and pay the same amount of money to the government. So you pay it twice. And if you don't pay it, it will not be released. So you can serve your jail term and stay there for another 100 years until you get the money and pay. Or somebody come and pays it on your behalf.
So that means people die there?
Of course, people stay there forever. So in my case, if this is the position of the law, number one, I cannot pay the money. My family cannot afford to pay the money.
They don't even know.
They don't even know where I am. Even if they knew, I am the breadwinner of the family. My other brothers, they won't pay it even if they have it. So it was a hopeless situation, Tom, very hopeless situation. And the guy that I went there with, he's the only son of his parents. And nobody knew where we were. And that was how we remained there until one day, there is a telephone in the prison, but it was meant for a local call. But the prisoners have devised a means that there is a card that when you buy the call, it's like in those days you buy a card to go and make call from those telephone Nitel booths and all those things. So there was one inside. It was kept there. Periodically, the prisoners can contact their family. So, but when they buy that card, there's number you dial, then you can do international call. But it's illegal. So they managed to make the arrangement for us, and then I called home and booked an appointment where my mother usually comes to take a phone call, and she came. And I told her that I'm in prison. And somehow she managed to be strong. And then she told me that, don't worry, God will bring you out. And that word, was an injection into me. I received some kind of conviction that I will come out, and I took it. A few weeks after that, we had a court date. And the government had by themselves, I don't know how they arranged it, but an interpreter came and did interpretation, took our statement. The judge will say something and then we will interpret. After that, we went back to prison. Few days after, there is this microphone that they have put in the printer they used to make announcements. And they were calling my name and that of my friend. And they were calling Azad. Azad means freedom. They will mention Azad. But that's how anybody who is going to announce his name and say freedom. So we heard our name. 3 months and 12 days. But we didn't believe it based on what we have heard and seen. We didn't believe it was us. So we went to the head of the prison. I said, we are hearing our name. They are saying Azad, that we should prepare. The man says it's not to say we shouldn't. We should go back and relax, that he will go to the office and find out. And he went to the office. Said, yeah, the two Nigerian, there are two of them, is them. The man came back, said, they said it's two of you. But we shouldn't, we should we should calm down. And that was it. They came for two of us. And they released us. Apparently, the judge was an educated young man who schooled abroad. But the system, he came in, he has to behave like. So he was the one that God used him to set us free. Yeah, and then when we came back to the hotel where we were, they didn't believe that, because the police came to inform them that we defrauded somebody and that we are in prison. And they didn't believe, they thought that we have escaped. So they called police again. And we were held.
Oh, wow.
And before they called and making calls within prison, and they confirmed that truly we were released. So the following day we have to go back to court for our passport. That was when we realized that judge speaks English, but he came to talk to us and said to us that we should go, that we should never come back to this country again. So they gave us our passport. But now, our return ticket has expired. Our visa has also expired. So we tried to leave the country through land border between Iran, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. We wanted to go into Pakistan because there is a UN arrangement in Pakistan where you can go and they claim asylum. So we wanted to pass there and enter Pakistan and go and submit ourselves to United Nations. So we managed to dress like.
How did you get the idea?
You discuss with people and then you look at the map and all those things. So we entered a vehicle to take us. That was in the northern part of Iran. And then they took us there. We got to that, but I managed to dress like them. And then we crossed into, there is a place they call Triangle of Death. That is a place where you have Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iran. The center. And that place, you see, in Iran, Islamic religion is several types. They have the major ones are Shia and Sunnis. Iran is Shia dominant. But the northern part of it, bordering Pakistan and Afghanistan, they are Sunni people. And they are opposition to the government. Some of those times where they tried to fuel crisis in Iran and all that, it was those people that they normally use. But they are Sunni Muslims. They don't agree with the Shia Muslims. So that place is a dangerous terrain. That's where Taliban, Al-Qaeda and all those in there operate. That's where they do all these drug, smoke, opium and all this. So it is called Triangle of Death because a lot of things happen there. So you go there and then there is a route you pass through by trekking, then you cross over. We managed to cross over to Pakistan side in a small village border town in Pakistan. And unfortunately for us, somebody caught us, one security operative. He noticed that we are black people and they arrested us at the Triangle of Death in a horrible village, a border village in the Pakistan border, bordering Iran. Very dangerous terrain where terrorists and everybody operates. And we were locked up to be taken to court for us to be remanded, from prison. And we were in the cell, two of us. As God may have it, the magistrate that we were supposed to appear before him the following day is a young man that graduated from a university in London. And he returned home and was made a magistrate of that court in that small village. So he was strolling and he passed by the police station.
Just strolling?
He was just strolling in the village. And he passed by the police station. And the police people told him, oh, we have some terrorists here. We are bringing them to you tomorrow so that you can give order for them to be sent to prison. So he was curious. He wanted to see the people. And he came to see us. He asked the police people to leave us. He came to sit down with us there. And he said to us that, I've seen you people. I know you are Nigerians. Immediately. I know you are Nigerians. I schooled in the UK. I have a lot of Nigerian friends. I've heard you speak. I know you are Nigerian. Don't lie to me. Tell me the truth. And we told him we are Nigerians. He said in UK that all his friends are Nigerians. The magistrate. And he said that he knows that this place, if they bring us to court, that the law, that he will remind us to prison. And we can remain in that prison for so many years and we can die there and nobody will know where we are. And so that he will find a way to help us because he has a lot of Nigerian friends while he was in UK. So we narrated to him what brought us, how we managed to come here. So God used him. Again. And the only option, he checked our passport and we had, I think, just one day, because in the court, when we went to take our passport, they extended our stay for, I think, about 7 days. And we had about 24 hours left. And the man said that, you have 24 hours left as a legal person in Iran. I will convince these police people to lead you back to Iran border. Go there, go and hand yourself over to immigration. You still have 24 hours. So go and tell them that you don't have tickets to fly back. They can either give you small sentence and extend your stay, or they can extend it for you and give you a few days to leave. That was what he did, and he convinced the police people in the middle of the night. They took us by foot to the border. They asked us to go there. If we turn back again, whatever we see, we should take. And I and that my friend will walk from there around 12 midnight and get back into Iran town around 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. in the morning. And we jumped the necessary and available vehicle back to Tehran. And we went straight to immigration office and handed ourselves over to immigration. We told them our ticket has expired, we couldn't go. And they gave us extra days. I think they gave us 5 extra days to get our ticket and leave. And then we found another road because we cannot afford tickets. We can't buy plane tickets. There was no money. So I managed to call one of my uncle in Japan. And then he sent me about $200. Then we used it. That my friend called his girlfriend in UK, and she sent us about £300. And we used it, into another road. And now, this time we succeeded, we entered into Pakistan. We met a group of people called hardened Muslims. And because we speak Arabic, we pretended as if we were also Muslim brothers. And they kept us for a few days and took us, and we told them that we are going to Islamabad, to UN camp. And they put us into a vehicle. One of their relatives was traveling to Karachi, and he followed us, led us to Karachi, put us into another vehicle going to Islamabad. And that's how we got to Islamabad and then took a UN status as refugees.